Welcome back to Mind What Matters, where we talk about all things caregiving, and we try very hard to mind what matters. Nikki, I love that you changed it like that. It sounds so much better. If you knew the amount of smack talk my kids give me around this house for welcome back to Mind What Matters, where we talk about all things caregiving and minding what matters. I mean, it is like dinner table fodder that they make fun of me for with now. So you've
Isn't that what our kids are supposed to do, though?
adjusted
Bless
podcast
every
for
day by making fun of us.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I've,
That's what I exist for now.
I've never felt more uncool than I do around my 12-year-old son.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like,
Yep. Well, I told you this, and guys, our guest today, I'm not going to say her name yet, but our guest has actually met my youngest child, and he told me not long ago, he said, "Mom, smile again real quick." And I did, and he goes, "Oh, wow, that's sad. You look old now."
no.
I was like, that's probably accurate, Gaines. I was like, you're right. And you told me this too, or maybe your dermatologist did. Death of a parent will certainly do it to you. It's like you can
Oh,
be
actually,
wrong.
the story, you guys, is that I had not gotten Botox. And I'm in the entertainment business. So the girls in this industry start getting it in their 20s.
Which
Okay.
heard. Oh, wow.
And well, but they do. And I was 40 and had still not gotten Botox. And I went in to see my dermatologist to get my skin check, as I do every year, because people in my family get skincare. My mother put me in a tanning bed at 10 years old. So, I'm very, like, very cautious. And I said, well, it's my 40th birthday. Don't you think it's time for me to get Botox? He was like, absolutely not. Get out of my office. And I was like, okay. So then I come back, and it was after COVID, after my dad had died, and I had not seen him for a couple of years. And I walk in and he goes,
Yep.
oh my God, what happened? And I was like, I said, oh, well, my dad died. And he goes, yeah, that'll do it. Get down. It's time for the Botox.
Well, yep, that'll do it. So anyway, here's to our kids keeping us humble and our dermatologists with their lights
And
on.
grief. Yeah. And grief and what it does to your face.
So guys,
But
our guest today,
yes, I was
speaking
just going to say,
speaking of grief, I'm gonna let Nikki read all about her because I'll probably start crying if left to me today. But all I'm gonna say is when I started Mind What Matters in 2019, I did it primarily because, and you guys all know this, you've heard me tell the story 100,000 times probably at this point on the podcast, but I was drowning as a caregiver, as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, as an everything. I had been walking through the trenches, taking grenades for probably 8 years with no support, with no resources, without any education, and just felt completely alone. And I was like one of the last holdouts to get on Instagram. And I didn't even have Instagram until I think 2014, maybe. And, just those first few years, I used it as any boomer appropriately should, which is like to post a few pictures of her family and, move on. But I wasn't using it for any source of education in terms of Alzheimer's until about 2018. And this guest is one of the first people I found, and she was one of the original guys. You'll find a million caregivers out there now on Instagram, story, sharing their stuff, trying to get followers. They are not the OG. Okay. They're sharing their stuff and it's powerful. But one of the pioneers to have done it is our guest today. And because of how honest she was, and because of how raw she was, and just really willing to open up and show it, and not only what her everyday was like, but what her faith was like in the process, it moved me to no end. So I'm so excited to finally have her on the podcast. We've tried to do this off and on for a couple of years. Nikki, you read her bio and let's get her in here.
when Ty Lewis's mother, Gertrude Jordan, was diagnosed with dementia at age 70. For Ty, an educator, a wife, a mother, there was no question what would happen next. The family went all bringing her mother home. What started as a daughter learning to care for her mother became something much bigger. It became an education platform. It became a movement. I grew her social media platform under the name I Am Gertrude Jordan, documenting the day to day reality of caring for a loved one with dementia. And it's now reaching well over 100,000 followers across CEO and owner of In Case I Forget Counseling, which is one of the best names for a counseling business I've ever heard in my life. Ty draws on her background as, you guys, high achiever, special education teacher, reading specialist, assistive technology specialist to provide dementia training and coaching that equips family caregivers and elder care professionals with research based strategies for improving outcomes. She is a certified dementia practitioner and a certified Alzheimer's disease and dementia care trainer. She is also the person that inspired my friend Liz to begin Mind What Matters and to do this, and for which I will always be grateful because without that, without Ty, I would never have known Liz. Ty Lewis, welcome to Mind What Matters. We're so grateful to have you. Thank you for being here.
I am so excited to be here with you today. What's up?
What is up? God, I don't think I know at this point.
Oh my gosh. Do
We're
we even do we know? Listen, I don't know.
No,
Do we know?
no. How are you? How are you doing? You are
I
so remarkable. You're the last one. Guys, we were talking before we hit record just because I personally had to fangirl a little bit. But Ty has been in this for 12 years,
yeah,
and he is truly one of the only people I know of who was online documenting her story who is still in the fight, who has not
yeah.
lost her mom. And it's such a testament to the care that you take of her. Honestly. I mean, eh, I don't think your mom would still be here if she hadn't been with you guys. No way.
I don't either. I really truly don't. I really don't. Yes. For us it's all about understanding and using my background in order to assist her, and the research-based strategies that I've learned as a special education teacher really helped just give me the insight and everything that I needed in order to walk this journey with mommy. And so I truly believe that has been the catalyst for her being able to continue and still be alive today.
I mean,
Mm.
it has to be. There's just no other, and she's so happy, Ty,
Yeah, she
I mean,
is.
not all the time. I know she has her moments and,
Yeah.
her hard. I think you posted something just this week, like she was having a hard time at one of your kids' events or something,
Oh my
but
God, she cut up.
I love
She
that that's
cut
what you call it. What
she
does that
cut up.
mean? What does that mean?
She
She's cutting up.
So, and this is one of the things that I'm going to talk about on social media later this week. But as caregivers, we were prepared. My husband and I were prepared. We had her snacks, the noise cancellation headphones. We fed her before she went to the performance, let her use the bathroom, but it was the noise still that was coming in
Mm,
the headphones, the people, a new space. And so that really agitated her. And a lot of people don't understand that as caregivers, we can't be prepared, but dementia still rears its ugly head. And it's okay, right? We can still have all of the strategies and everything, but still not be able to be successful, or what we deem, would be success, as far as our loved ones being able to sit like we want them to sit, or just enjoy a performance because it becomes too much for them. And so
right.
for us that day, we just had to be content in the situation that we were in and just take turns. So my husband and I just took turns going in and out with her so she wouldn't be agitated. And we had to walk into her world and not try to fit her into our world. And it's hard,
Mm.
yes. But also, we had to do whatever we had to do to keep her comfortable, because at the end of the day, it's about her health.
Right.
And with Liz, you are remarkable. You are a breathtaking
Thank you.
person.
Thank you.
And it is, I'm always the one who cries, Ty. I'm
Don't
sorry,
cry.
but to watch the way that you come at caregiving, yes,
Yeah.
you are deeply educated. You do, those skills and are in you because you have learned them, you have done everything that you can to have that knowledge. But there is something else that you bring to the table that, and I'm sure it is what helps you to be a great special education teacher, reading specialist. There's so much compassion in how you care.
Yeah.
When you watch you and your family caregiving, it feels sacred. And Liz
Yeah.
and I talk all the time about caregiving is sacred work. And I know
Mhm.
why it's sacred to me and how what my journey was that helped me to understand how sacred it is. And Liz as well. Can you share what do you think is that amalgamation in you that helps you to show up the way that you do? Because man, it is thoughtful, it is mindful, it is compassionate, it is loving, it is it is beautiful, truly.
Yeah. It's the Lord. It's the fruit of the spirit that I know that I have to have within me, and it's understanding that it doesn't matter how I feel, I was called to this work. Just like you
Mm,
said, caregiving is sacred and it's holy, and everyone won't understand that sentiment or that statement, but it is holy. And when you talk about holiness, I take it seriously because the Lord has called me to my mother, and it
mm,
it doesn't dismiss how I feel, but it does help me understand that he is with me in every circumstance. And so even though I may be frustrated, angry, hurting, might not have all the finances I need, all of those things that caregivers go through, the Lord is still with me in that. And so I honor him by honoring her. And so that's where you see the compassion, the love, us having fun, doing this caregiving journey with joy and all of those things, because I want to exhibit the fruit of the spirit and look just like him in the earth. And our testimony and how we take care of mommy allows others to see, yes, the caregiving journey is hard, but two things can be true. It's hard, but it's also holy.
mhm.
I was talking, I posted something, and the other day someone posted on my comments, and I'm gonna talk about this on social media too. Someone said, "Oh, you can do, all things through Christ which strengthens you." And I said, we love to throw around that scripture. I said, but if you really, really look into it, Paul
Mhm.
wasn't talking about measurable success. He was talking about being content in all things. The all things is about contentment, whatever God called you to do. And he was in jail about to be executed when he was writing that. So we
Yeah,
we failed, and we missed that portion, and we're like, oh, you can do anything. No, it's not about doing anything, it's about doing the all things that he's called me to. And so
correct.
caregiving is a part of the all things and being content in that. And contentment, again, is not dismissing how I feel. It is just saying I could be high when I'm low, when I'm rich, when I'm poor, when I'm happy, when I'm sad. He is there and I can do all of the things. And he strengthens me in that.
Is it? I remember somebody asked me not that long ago from my family, like, what radicalized you? And I said, Jesus,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus, because I believed in that when I was in Bible school as a child. I
Yeah.
believed in that, in going towards the need, in being of service. And all people are God's children. We are all
That's right.
made in the image and likeness of God. And the way
That's
to
right.
bring heaven to earth, as we say in the Lord's Prayer, is for us to be the living embodiment of
That's
that
right.
here on earth, which is what I hear you saying. But to see it in action,
Yeah.
it is profound, and you do that every day. Tell us who your mom was, and also the pieces of her that you still see for the diagnosis.
Who
Gertrude
mommy
Jordan, yeah.
I know. Mommy
I'm a
mommy
G.
is who she was. And which is
Good.
funny. So I love that the only thing that has changed about her is her brain. She's still loving, she's still compassionate, she is still funny. Mommy is funny and witty. I love that about her. So she is all of those things, just with her brain just forgetting. That's it. The best thing that I love about mommy was her compassionate side, her heart, and her generosity. And I always talk about this with mommy. Mommy was always generous. It didn't matter who you were, what you had. If she didn't have, she was still going to give to you. And a lot of who I am is because of who she is and who she was. And that was that generosity piece, just giving, always feeding kids, always taking kids to school, always giving children, bags of clothes, and just taking care of the community. And because I was able to see her do that, I picked up a lot of those characteristics. And I am so thankful that she was able to exhibit that because, again, as a child, it wasn't what she was telling me, it was what she was doing. And so
Doing.
it was the doing, and I was able to follow in her footsteps, so I'm so thankful about that. But
I
she was
think that
funny.
I think that one
Mom's
of the greatest gifts sometimes, of Alzheimer's is
Mhm,
that often through the disease, as crippling as the sorrow can be in certain moments where
mhm,
kind of like longing for a relationship that you used to have,
Mm.
I think when we can finally relinquish our hold on that, and
yeah,
really where I struggled the most for
yeah,
a long period of time was just wanting to hold on so greatly to what
mhm,
was.
yeah,
I'd already lost my older brother to cancer, and I couldn't
mhm,
conceive of another
yeah,
loss really at the time, and it was just sort of like, I'm gonna do everything in my power to fight against this, but when I finally accepted it and could lean into my mom's diagnosis and just sort of accept her changing as she was with the disease, it
yeah,
really honestly it provided a new way of loving her and a
yeah,
new way of sort of relating to her. And
yeah,
yes, it was different, and yes, it looked, you know, unbelievably, stark compared to the relationship that we had before. It was very, very
right,
different. But the love that we shared was even greater, and it was more
yeah,
profound, in
yeah,
her, especially in those later years where they really are so, so dependent on you.
mhm,
That's not why the love is greater, it's that you're knowing a person on this. I'm rambling a little bit here trying to get to my point. My husband said, "Yeah, I'm taking too long to get to the point of the story," but, like,
Oh, he's not here.
when everything else fades, there's just love. There's love,
right, that's it,
truest, most powerful form, and it
yeah,
is
Mhm.
just the loving. That's all that's
right,
necessary, everyone thinks
yeah,
with giving, "Oh, well, you've gotta get this right, and you've gotta get that right, and you've gotta keep them busy and
no,
active, and you've gotta enter their world," and no. All
it's
they
just
really
love,
need is someone who
mhm,
stays.
yeah,
Someone who stays and someone who holds them, and
mhm,
honestly, God is everywhere in that.
mhm,
He just
yes,
is. I mean, there were moments that were so difficult with my mom. This wasn't my choice, but my mom ended up in a care facility. Ty, I don't even know if you knew this. And it was, there was a whole series of things that happened that led to that, but she really was never the same after we put
yeah,
her to a care facility. I mean, within
yeah,
hours, within
oh,
hours. I mean, I
wow,
walked off leaving one person, and when I came the next morning, it was a different human, and,
oh, wow,
it was really awful and tragic, and it was a very sharp and steady decline, to the end from that
yeah,
point, and there were moments that were so raw and so hard, she'd just be sitting there weeping, and there was nothing left to do besides pray. And
yeah,
sometimes that's all I would do. I would just hold her hands and I would say, "We're gonna pray. We're just gonna
yeah,
pray." And we would
yeah,
recite the Lord's Prayer, or I would, or, other prayers or whatever, but, like, I felt God more inside me and
yeah,
inside her and inside that room with her in that than I have ever felt him. In the birth of all 3 of my children, in my marriage,
yeah,
the death of my brother. I mean, if you will let it, caregiving
Mhm.
will 100% break you down, but it rebuilds the
yes.
best version of yourself. Do you not agree with
It
that?
does something, yeah, it does something to you, it really shows caregiving is a mirror, and it shows you who you are. It because you're dealing with one of God's children.
Mhm.
And it exposes you, it exposes your heart, and it really shows your character. So how you treat his child says a lot about who you are in him.
Mhm.
And I really see that. And but it also taught me to persevere and endure and just built me to be a better person and showed me my flaws, if you will. And yes, I am a loving person, but taught me you can love more. And just
Mhm.
like you said, relinquishing the thought that, oh, I am a good person or I am doing this. No, it's so much more to go.
Mhm.
One of my girlfriends told me one time, she was like, I don't realize why I have to go through this. I already learned my lesson. And it's like, no, life doesn't, the lessons don't end in life. It's a continuation because we still have work to do and we still have to grow. And everything that we go through breaks us, but and exposes something in us. And then as
Mhm.
we're going through, it builds us. And so that is what caregiving is doing. It's a mirror I'm holding up to myself, showing me who I am and who I have the ability to become. And
Mhm.
the goal is to always become better through loving my mom, through serving her, because isn't that what's all about, being a servant leader? And so
Yes.
serving her, the least of these, And so yeah, it's interesting.
Well, you've done that your whole life. I mean, truly, you came from special education,
Hmm.
reading specialization, mm, not specifically healthcare, but that is also, those are caregiving. It's a different
Yeah.
type of caregiving. So,
And special
how,
education advocate. So I also advocate. So I'm
yes,
an so
yes.
yeah, doing that.
I will tell you, because I went through and still am going through and will go through forever. Like, my youngest was born with multiple congenital heart defects.
Oh, wow.
Um, oh, yes. So, I have also had to show up in that with my children. I have two
Yeah,
neurodivergent children, so there are so many ways that we give care and there, but one, I have learned that one feeds the other in terms of those skills. So how did the
yeah.
skills that you had from special education, reading specialization, assistive technology, like how did those skills translate into dementia care for you?
For me, and I always say this, I don't
Like in
have
ways you expected and also didn't expect?
so I always say this. I always say this. I don't have doctor in front of my name, so people don't believe me, because I have to be a doctor. But one of the things that I saw working with children with special ed, especially those who on the autism spectrum, there is similarities. There are similarities.
Mhm.
Stimming, eye contact,
Mhm.
all of these things. There are similarities, and we could. I wish that they would do a deeper dive. I deep dive. Like I really, I really wish they would. My um, I won't even go there. But so one of the things. let's- So and this is what this is one of the things that I learned. I worked with children who we would call the acronym SIDPID, severely intellectual disabled. So, and I would walk in the room and they would be laying on the bed and they weren't able to talk, move, do any of those things, speak, nothing. But they were able to press a button in order to communicate. And in my mind, I knew based on those experiences that if they don't have the ability to move, talk, or any of those things, or tell you what they need, even use picture boards, but they could press a button to communicate. I knew that I could break through with my mom with dementia. I knew
Mm,
through being an assistive technology specialist, I also have my EDS in curriculum and instruction. I knew through designing assessments that I could assess mommy based on where she was and be able to implement strategies for her based on my education.
Mm.
So all of those things, the pedagogy, all of those things that I learned in special education translated easily because it was what I need in order to assist her. And that's what people don't understand. Look within yourself, you have everything you need. One of my good friends always says
mm,
it's in your hands. So the Lord was literally preparing me to take care of her.
Mhm.
Assistive technology specialist, what do we do? We give people access. So I teach you about low, mid, and high tech assistive technology devices. Now, I know exactly what my mom needs in order to help her,
Mhm.
whether that's a wheelchair, AAC device, slant board, pencil grip, whatever that looks like, I can give it to her. And so working as an with reading, people don't understand. Liz, you know, 5 areas of reading. When when we teach children in every area how to read, the children go from phonemic awareness to comprehension. Mommy was going from comprehension down to phonemic awareness.
Mhm.
Every time it was lowered, I knew where to work with her in reading in
Mm.
order for her to keep those skills. If you look at mommy now, there is no one at mommy's stage that is still talking. So mommy spelled cat the other day. I asked her what 2 plus 2 was, 4, because we're continuously working with those skills because I understand reading. I understand where she is academically. I understand where she is on a scale. So when I'm in an IEP meeting and they're going through the psych report, the psychological report, I know what all that stuff looks like. So I'm able to look at mommy and say, oh, she's performing on a 2-year-old level, or she's performing on a first grade level. I was able to do that and then implement the strategies based on where she was. And that's what people don't understand. We want our loved ones to function on function how they were, but we need to allow them to function based on where they are. And that is how they get access. You give them
Mhm.
access on their level, and then you'll see success, not based on where they were, but based on where they are now. And so
Ty,
that is how.
I have a kind of a personal question that if it's
Okay.
okay for me to ask, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to answer it at all, but I'm genuinely curious. Everybody with Alzheimer's, especially in the later stages, has some level of anxiety, right? And
Mm-hmm.
just comfort in those behaviors. Is your mom on any medication at all that
No,
manages
she's not.
that? I knew it.
No, and
Knew
has
it
not
before
been.
I even asked the question. I knew the answer.
She
That's why I
has
wanted
not been on medicine since, I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
Because,
and there it is. There
and
it is.
I'm gonna say this with my chest, because what is it doing?
I don't mean like a
No,
cure.
like, no, I'm saying, like, what is it's really, they're saying it's slowing it down, but I tell people, listen to me. Like, I'm an expert, but I don't have doctor again. But if I tell you research-based strategies, if I'm showing you how to assess your loved one, I don't allow them to give my mom the test, the Alzheimer's test. I don't allow. What do you mean? Who's the president? What are you talking about? If we create assessments within each level according to the FAST scale, you'll
Mhm.
be able to implement strategies based on their level. But what do I know?
Well, the reason I asked is I think that the reason your mom is doing so well, remarkably well, in addition to your strategies, and I really didn't mean like if she on, adenacanab or
Yeah.
Leqembi, Namenda or
No,
Eric
like Zoloft or
and
like sleep med.
Oh,
Yes.
no. No,
anxiety
no, no,
medicine,
no, 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 no. No,
depression
no, no, no,
medicine,
no.
whatever. And the
No.
the reason I think my mom went downhill so rapidly is because she had such a hard time adjusting to where she was. She did not want to be there. And that's
Yeah.
not uncommon, right? It's not like there's a million people that want to be separated from their families.
Right.
Um,
And they
and
doped them up. Let's say
and
that.
this
Let's be honest.
that's what
They
happened.
doped them up.
That's what happened. My mom
Yeah.
essentially went ballistic as she should have. And again, like I said, I'm saying this for our audience so that they understand this about me. I was not on board with her
Yeah.
having to do this. But unfortunately I did not have her medical power of attorney and it was not ultimately
Yeah.
my decision. But essentially because she got upset, their answer to that was
Yeah.
either these were my 2 choices. Well, she's saying she won't eat, so we're either going to put her on a gurney and put her in a psych ward in a mental hospital until we get her, basically stabilized to
Yep.
them because they saw her as a threat to they said, we have to take this seriously. She's making claims that she wants to end her
Yeah.
life, so we have to take this seriously, or we're going to medicate her
Mm-hmm.
into a place where she is, less upset. We need to
Yeah.
and they used I'll never forget this, the phrasing that they used was always, "We need to help alleviate your mother's pain now. This is her pain."
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yes.
And
Yeah. I want to say
never
this.
I never saw her again. after that. That was literally I left her the first night in that facility, and I never saw my mother again after that.
Let me say
And
this,
it makes it worse.
mommy,
It makes everything worse.
it, it really does. Mommy, does that,
Mhm.
that. And so, at one point she had gotten bad, so she was biting her hand right here. She bites her clothes, so I'm buying clothes literally every week for her. And they said, "Well, give her some medicine." No, that's a part of sundowning.
Mhm.
And what
Mhm.
I have found on this journey, and I'm going to say this with my chest. What I have found on this journey is that a lot of people that are dealing, medical professionals that are dealing with our loved ones, have no knowledge of dementia.
Mhm.
And that is alarming to me. And that is why I educate my platform in the way in which I do, because they know the basics, but mommy e- making the noise does not mean she needs to be medicated. It
Mm-mm.
just means that I need to find, oh, because she's agitated and that is a part of sundowning. That is dementia. So she doesn't need to be medicated. She'll get through that. And what I've learned that helps her is music and soothing her and her laying on my chest and all of those things. And sometimes,
Mhm.
just like we do babies, allow them to sit there and cry it out. She will be okay because she's not harming herself. Now, I will say this because there are always outliers. If your loved one is harming themselves or trying to
Right.
harm you, that is different. You do
That's
need to
different.
talk to
Mhm.
you. That's different. But if they're, and the first thing the nurse was like, oh, just give her some medicine. No, 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 no. You don't tell me, I tell you. And that is one of the reasons why I became educated like I am. So I would be able to like
Discern.
dictate her care, discern, use wisdom, all of those things. Mommy had she took her teeth out. And so, and so I had to take her to the dentist. This happened about I think the end of last year. And she had to be given a pill because they needed her to be calm. They gave her 2, and I consulted with the doctors and nurses, and they were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh," because she doesn't take medicine, so I gave her 1. That 1 pill had mommy out for a day and a half.
Oh my.
1 do you and this is something that I consented to. One
Mhm.
pill had her out because her body is not used to medication. She
Mhm.
wasn't able to push through
Mhm.
1 pill. So can you imagine the state? Like I couldn't wake her up. Like it was crazy. So if I did that to her every day, can you imagine she won't be able to function? She can't follow my instructions. All of these things that I need her to do, I need her to be awake and aware so that I can
Mhm.
continue to work with her. And her being in a drug state is not going to help. And they do that. And I'm not blaming medical facilities or care facilities, but they don't have the manpower to be able to take care of our loved ones like they should. And
Mhm.
one nurse or caregiver cannot man 10 people. It's
Mhm.
impossible. I can't take care of my mama by myself.
Yeah.
So there's no way one person should be taking care of 10 people. It doesn't work. And so
Mhm.
I know we won't fix the system, but if we continue to talk about the system and the needs of our loved ones, especially when it deals with dementia, th- it'll help because we're continuing the conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such an important
Wow.
one, though, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is where so many people find themselves, they're stuck
Mhm.
between a rock and a hard place because they're not educated and their loved one maybe
Yeah.
does start behaving, in a way that there is frightening to them and
Yeah.
they don't know what to do. And
Yeah.
so they call paramedics, they come to the house, and the next thing you know, you're kind of in a wind tunnel of like
Yeah.
not knowing which way is up and everything feels confusing and you don't have anyone
Yeah.
advising you. Um
Right.
and truthfully, the people who are in these positions of power that are supposed to be telling you what to do, it's not always the best advice. It's
It's
not.
not.
Um,
I
No, I we
it's
talk
not.
about that all the time. We talk about that all the time on here, Ty, not just in the space of Alzheimer's and dementia, but when it comes to, you know, being able to even advocate for yourself. I
Yeah.
find that so much of caregiving is learning how to be an advocate, and some people come to
Mhm.
that naturally,
Yeah.
and some people do not. Because, if we look at historically women, right, white,
Yeah.
right? They have been silenced, how they have been
Mhm.
dismissed, how they have been, often treated as, especially even today, we are not
Yeah.
treated or considered to be equals. And so
Right.
and especially when you look at how Black women are treated in the medical
Mhm.
system, which is even worse than
Yeah.
white women,
Yeah.
we are often going into rooms where they are telling us, here, take a Xanax and you'll be fine with it. And meanwhile, like what happened to my mom, she had a horrific stomach bacteria. And it
Oh,
took her
wow.
flying to California and coming to my doctor for the doctor to look at her and say, no, 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 something's wrong. But she had 3 other doctors in her area where she lived just say, "Take a Xanax, you're just having anxiety," and do no test, and she left the doctor's office. And so, what we talk about so much on this podcast is educating yourself and finding
Yeah.
those people, and we like to find the voices like yourself and lift them up. So
Yeah.
go to Ty's page, go listen to her, hire her as a counselor, as a consultant to
As a
help
dementia
you through
consultant.
this journey,
Yeah.
because you need to educate yourself and you also have to learn how to use your voice to be an
That's right.
advocate. So, how do you, first of all, let me start with this question. Is this what made you start your counseling business? In case I forgot, like just going through this and not getting answers and realizing that, like, the doctors often don't have the answers in terms of actually the specificity day to day of caregiving.
Yeah, so I wanted to be clear too, for us, it's just consulting, but I want to go back and do counseling. I do. I'm thinking about that. So it's just consulting. But for me, it was watching mommy go through this. And that is what made me become a certified dementia practitioner. And I was
Hmm.
like, there is so much information out there. And for that, it's interesting because when you look at the requirements to become a certified dementia practitioner, you have to be like nursing in that field. But because of my background and I was able to show them like my classes credits, that is how they allowed me into the program. But I became one in order to continue to advocate for my mom. And now literally when mommy was like in the UCLA program here, they were like, so we really don't have anything to say to you. You know everything. We just want to check in to see how Miss Gertrude is doing. And that, but I built a relationship with them. And I let
Mm,
them know, like, and I tell my people, listen, when a doctor approaches you or when your loved one has to go into an ambulance or whatever it is, you have to be able to boom, 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 boom. I got to tell you, mommy's in stage 7C, bradycardia,
mhm,
low heart rate, 55 beats per minute. I can tell you all of these things. Not really walking, needs a wheelchair. Like I took her to the hospital. I can't remember what happened. Oh, she fell and cut her head in the back. And so they were like, oh, she can go back by herself. All right. You okay? All right. Are you okay? No. So making sure that she has a diagnosis, I have a folder about this thick, maybe bigger. All of her paperwork and everything in there
mhm,
because it is important for me to be able to speak up for her because she cannot advocate for herself. And I will continue the work. And so me doing that for her allowed me to say, you know what, there are other people that need this too. And that's why I started my platform. And that is why I started educating people. And that is why I am how I am because she needed it first and then extending my services to everyone else. And it's so
mm,
important. And just when I think people know, there are hundreds of other people that I see online because just like you said, now people are coming on social media in droves with their loved one. And I'm just like, no, don't do that. No, no, don't do that. But they have to learn. And it's up to us to continue the education and make sure they're equipped to be able to walk this journey. Because
Right.
it's fun
mhm,
and games. Like mommy can get on there and laugh and do whatever and say a little cuss word. And somebody might laugh, but at the end of the day, if she's doing something, if she's harming herself, if she's agitated, whatever that is, if she can't walk, what resources do I have in order to help her?
Mhm.
mhm.
Entertainment is one thing, education is another.
Oof,
Right.
And I'm doing
yes.
both.
Right.
You
I'm doing both.
you are.
I feel like the people that
Yeah.
are just sharing it to be like, "Look what a good person I am." I'm like, "Come
Yeah,
on.
no.
That's not what we
It's so
need."
much. Yeah,
You know?
it's
Yes.
so much.
What do you say to people like women, and even those people who are listening right now that maybe don't come to advocacy as easily as maybe the three of us? Like, I'm
Mhm.
always like, I got a loud mouth and I will use it.
Yeah.
Just truly. Um, but so it comes so easily to me.
Yeah.
I don't, but what do you say to somebody where that is not something that's easy for them? How do you encourage them? How do you give them that, whether it's confidence or what do they need to hear in order to be able to step into that role?
Yeah.
I
Like,
always
how
I
do
always
you
say this, whatever you don't know, find somebody that does. And so, like, a lot of my parents are like, well, if I'm doing special education advocacy, oh, I know all of the laws. Well, it's one thing to know a law, but it's another thing to be able to get them to change their mind.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
And that's the difference. So you may know the laws, but I can help have them change their mind. And so
Right.
you work with somebody who's a powerhouse. If
Mm,
you're scared, work with somebody who's not. And so
Mhm.
we have the ability to gain access to individuals who do have the ability to advocate for us. And so I would say, just like we outsource and we get our laundry done, somebody goes to wash our car, go get an advocate. And if you don't have the ability or the means, because I want to be sensitive in this area to afford somebody to advocate for you, do the research, follow pages that are educating you, ask questions. Like people that know me, like, yes, I do consulting, but also I'm always answering questions. I'm always creating videos. Find somebody who's compassionate enough to help you. But
Yeah.
there is never a time, especially on social media now, that we can say we don't know
Right.
because that's an excuse and that's not progress. And
Right.
so we have to step outside of our ego and say, I don't know everything, but let me connect with someone who knows something. And that's how we win. I'm always down to help our people within our community, always, because a win for them is a win for all of us and a win for this disease.
That's right. But there's
Yeah.
only so many
yes.
hours of the day, right? I mean, I get fielded with probably at least 10 requests a week of, "Hey, can you just share an hour with me on the phone?" Well, if I did that for all of them, that's a quarter of my work week, which we all
Yeah.
know is 40 hours, but like,
Right.
you know what I'm
Creating
saying? Like,
boundaries.
there's a limit
Bound.
to how much we
Yeah.
can help, but there really are no shortage of free resources out there right now. I
Right.
mean, you can get on
There are a lot.
AARP, you can get on the Department of Aging, like you can get in the Department of Health,
Alzheimer's Association.
Alzheimer's.
All
Yeah,
yeah.
like there's so many different ways to find resources now. I mean, hell, you
Yeah.
can use AI, Claude might be a little bit more aggressive with you, but try ChatGPT. It'll make you think you're the best caregiver out there. I mean, there are a lot of resources. One
Yeah.
final question I have for you, and I know
Mhm.
we have to go, but I mean, I could talk to you all day, you know that. But
Hmm.
I think one of the things I would like you to say to this audience specifically, because you are still in the fight,
Mhm.
Hmm.
how are you handling this last stage emotionally? And how do you prepare yourself, or how are you preparing yourself for the end?
So I am I don't think I'm necessarily prepared because grief is continuous. I've been grieving since the diagnosis, right? And
Yep.
even if you think you're prepared, if I lose mommy, I will probably lose my mind. And that's truth. So for me, preparation looks like making sure that I am seeing a therapist often, making sure that I'm going to the doctor, making sure that I am stress free and I'm sharing the responsibilities and I am asking for help. One of the hardest things for me to do is to ask for help, but I am learning. And the more that I learn, the easier it becomes and the more stress comes off of me. I take it moment by moment. That's what someone taught me. I cannot take it day by day because the beginning of the day is not going to be like the end of the day. So it's moment by moment. And what I'm learning now is to enjoy the space that I have with mommy. and be filled with joy within that space. So I'm collecting all of these memories. I'm creating all of these videos and listening, capturing her voice and all of these things so that I can have it for later
Mhm.
on. And I'm petitioning the Lord to show up on my behalf to, number one, keep her and the promises that he made to her. And number two, to keep me in my mind. And number three, when that time comes, to keep me in perfect peace. It does
Mhm.
not dismiss the fact that I'll be hurt and tore up and all those things, but to keep me in perfect peace in his will, understanding that he is sovereign. And so I cannot change the end, but I can shift my gaze up. And in shifting my gaze up, I am able to see that he knew from the time mommy was born to the time he takes her, from the time I was born, the time I started, all of those things, and he knows what the outcome is going to be. So if he knows, then I trust him enough to take care of me because he knows all of these things.
And he
And
will.
let me say this. I'm
Um,
saying this. I'm saying this, right? But it does not dismiss the feelings. And that's as we Christians, because we read the word of God, and it talks about feelings a little bit, if you read Psalms and things like that. But when we really, and this is where my reading specialist hat comes in, when we really get into the meat of it, think about Job.
mm,
How do you really think he felt? If you were to draw conclusions about the text, how do you really think he felt losing everything? But in the end, the Lord restored him. And one
totally
of the things
abandoned
that,
the baby. Yeah.
listen, the Lord restores. And
Mhm.
that's my peace. And it and the Lord knows exactly what he's doing, and it may not look like in the way that I want it to look, but he does all things well, and that is what I have to be at peace with. And within that, I have the right to question him. Within that, I have the right to feel, to be angry, frustrated, I have that right. But I also understand that I am his daughter, and he's going to take care of me. And
Mhm.
so two things can be true. I can grieve and I can hurt, but I can also trust the sovereign God.
Yep.
And that is how I'm dealing with it. My emotions change from morning to night. Uh, I look at mommy sometimes and I'm like, you're educated with 2 degrees. How? How are you in this situation? But I also look at her like, you have to lean and depend and rely on me. And thank God he chose me to take care of you, because
Mhm.
I'm going to do it in the best way possible. And we're going to get ice cream and we're going to have fun and we're going to run these streets and we're going to travel and I'm going to put you in a swimming pool and I'm going to do things. You're going to eat food that you've never eaten before. I am tasked. That this is what we don't understand. We miss this entire part. I am tasked with walking her into heaven.
Mm.
How beautiful is that? How glorious and holy is that?
It is.
We're tasked with that. And so when we look at it from that perspective, we have joy. And again, it doesn't dismiss the pain, and all of those can marry and be together. All of those emotions and feelings. So I'm okay. Some days I turn up, some days I'm laughing, some days I'm like, What is this?" It's a myriad of emotions, but I am here. And
Mhm.
that is all that matters. I am here. I am standing, and the Lord is taking care of me. Because if I can tell y'all about the financial, just we can go and have seven. Y'all know the Lord is keeping me. That's it.
Well, after being on the other side of it, I can tell you that everything you just said is the truest of truths. And I think
Yeah,
Nikki would say the exact same. And I think you've got the I mean, I think you just nailed it. I think you have the
yeah,
perfect attitude. I think you're handling it in just the most beautiful way. I think you're honoring your mother and you're honoring yourself in the
yeah,
process. And by doing both of those things so beautifully, you are honoring God. Um,
yeah.
and Nikki and I will be here cheering for you from the sideline.
Yay!
And, we're here always, even if
Yeah,
you just need to cry one night and hyperventilate on the phone and breathe
yeah,
into a brown paper bag and know somebody's listening going, yep, that sounds about right for where you are.
yeah,
You got two people that will always be here for you. And
yeah,
mom is
And
just
see you.
so
yeah,
lucky to have you. I mean, really, she doesn't even realize how lucky. There's so many people out there that are going through this disease and they're either living alone, um,
mhm,
and the government gets involved and it's just ugly,
yeah,
or families just don't know what to do and they pawn off the responsibility on others and everybody suffers in that experience.
yeah,
Because they're not getting the gift of caregiving and the loved one isn't
yeah,
getting the gift of their family and of getting the
yeah,
care, and when it happens the right way, as heartbreaking as it is, it can be beautiful, and
yeah.
you've shown the most gorgeous example of that, of truly,
Thank you.
and there's a lot of caregivers that obviously have come across my desk and Nikki's too, and this podcast, and, um guys, if you're listening and you're not a Christian, I really have to say, I charge you. Why? I mean, listen to Ty and listen to her, just the beauty that comes from her heart and within. And
Yeah,
I truly believe deep down, like that's divine. That's
yeah,
put there by one thing, and that's our
yeah,
Lord. And
yeah.
it's what gets you through. It truly
It
is
does.
through this experience. And
'Cause
it
baby,
takes,
I would have lost my mind.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you can
Yeah,
lean on other than
yeah,
something divine,
yeah,
when going through something that's this painful and this long lasting. I'm helping a woman right
yeah,
now who has totally changed the landscape of ALS, and now she's trying to do it for Alzheimer's. But I'm like, you got this all backwards. Like, no, you
yeah,
can't treat this the same because number one, you have to deal with the caregivers, not the patient. And number two,
yeah,
you're dealing with something that takes 3 times as long, 4 times as long as ALS,
yeah.
I mean, this is, like, decades of suffering and of
It's
hardship,
crazy.
emotional
Yeah,
hardship, financial hardship, everything, you know?
yeah,
But I'm just so, so proud to know you, Ty, and I just, again, have to say thank you for being one of the inspirations that I had in truly wanting to, like, step outside myself and my mom and the whole journey and be like, "Okay, what can I do?" Like, I'm
mhm,
drowning, but what can I do here? And I
yeah,
did. So convicted by the Lord to do, to start this organization and really the podcast first,
yeah.
That organization ended up happening rather backwards because if you know me well enough, that's how pretty much everything happens with me.
And that's okay.
By
Every season is
accident
different.
backwards and upside down, but you're just wonderful and you're
Thank
remarkable,
you.
and I'm so grateful for you coming on our show and for talking to us today.
I'm so glad to be here and spend time with you
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you, Ty. And for everyone listening, she also wrote a children's book. But in case I
Yes!
forget, yes, so please
Yes!
purchase her children's book. And also, you can find her on social media at Gertrude Jordan. And then also, if you are in need of consulting, and I highly recommend, yeah,
Yes. Come
truly
visit, see me.
come and see her, please, because again, I'm like you, Ty. When I don't know something, I will find somebody who does.
Mhm.
And it is the most helpful gift that you can give yourself and your loved one.
Yeah.
Ty, thank you so much. You are a gift not just to your mom, but to all of us and to everyone
Thank you.
listening.
Thank y'all
And
so
we're so
much.
grateful for you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.